testing out some new software at the moment. So we are here as people start to show up. We are here live in person. If you're watching this live, we're live. But if you're watching it recorded, we were once recording it and streaming it live. We're here with Joe of Make Do, which is, what is Make Do, Joe?
Make Do is a nonprofit that uses creativity as a way to connect and care for each other. So the creativity, that's the make, and then that care and connection is the do.
Cool. And so where you're located, tell me a little bit about your neighborhood, where you're located, what the situation is like at this moment. This is March 19th. What is it like right now in that world?
Yeah. So I'm in Searcy, Arkansas. It's about town of about 25,000 people. We are 45 minutes north of Little Rock. So that would be the biggest city to Searcy.
Cool.
There's a university here that has about 5,000 students. They were on spring break last week and told, don't come back.
Yeah.
So the students are gone. Currently, it is rainy and dreary. It has been all week. The vibe here seems to be changing rapidly. At the beginning of the week, I think there was still a lot of people who were scoffing at the suggestions to stay in your home. And my studio here is in our downtown area, and it has increasingly every day gotten less and less people around.
Yeah. So tell a little bit about you host a lot of workshops. Tell me about who your sort of audience is or who you serve.
Yeah. So our classes are pay what you can, and we do that so that we can really serve everybody. So we're not limiting or targeting our audience based on who can afford our services. Primarily, we serve a lot of women and kids. I do kids classes too, but we just finished up in February. We did a men's sewing class. So it was all men for the first time. There were 6 of them who came and participated in that 4-week class.
That's cool.
Yeah, they actually asked if they were similar to teaching the women's classes, and I told them, no, they were more like the kids classes. So
there you go. Yeah. What did you sew with them? I'm curious. I just started sewing. So
we made little like roll up things. You could normally, when we make it with the kids, we put colored pencils or markers.
Oh, like a tool. Yeah.
But we made them with a flap and with a zipper pouch on one end, so they could use it as a toiletry bag or for tools. Or
that's cool.
Whatever. Yeah, we had a good time.
How fun. Tell me a little bit about you offer in-person workshops. That's like what you've done. You're a nonprofit. Make Do is a nonprofit, correct? So some of the people that we'll talk to are business owners and some are nonprofit owners. It's a little bit different, but you're a nonprofit with in-person events, and then all of a sudden no more in-person events, and you have to figure out, what do I do? So what have you, first off, like, walk me through a little bit what Make Do has done over the past week to change what it's doing, either from a public health perspective of trying to be helpful and useful to everybody at this time, but then also from a still connecting with your audience and still serving your mission in the middle of all of the chaos.
Right. So March is actually a weird month here anyway, because there's a private school that's connected with the university, and they took spring break last week. And then all the public schools here take spring break next week. So March, it was pretty much a dead month for studio classes anyway, because of all the spring break and travel. So I didn't have anything planned. March was meant to be like a let's catch up on everything.
Yeah.
But then when schools were closed, I started thinking, what can we do now to help bring creativity? Well, I just think creativity is such a benefit. It's a grounding factor, I think, when things feel a little bit crazy and chaotic. And so I thought it was important to be able to offer creativity in some aspect to our community here. but then one of the barriers to that was supplies. So what if people didn't have the supplies that they needed at home? So I did a quick poll on my Instagram on Sunday to see, hey, would anybody be interested in some virtual classes while your kids are home? And it was the most response I had ever had to
oh my gosh.
the poll.
Really?
We had over 100 people voted like, yes, we want something. So on Monday, I woke up and thought, okay, well, I guess we're going to do something. So I called it Quarantine Craft Camp, and we're calling it QUAC for short. So Monday,
Cool.
I came up with a schedule, braved a trip to Hobby Lobby to round up supplies. We got all of the kits made up so people could buy supply kits if they needed to. And then we had to get all of that on our website as well.
Yeah.
So it was a busy Monday. And we got it all launched. I went live on Monday on Facebook and Instagram to just explain what we were doing. And then we started Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, today, we've done a live class in our Facebook group at 11 a.m. in the morning. And then people can watch it then or tune in later. The biggest thing was I didn't want to lose so much of what I do is the connecting. And I didn't want to lose that. Like I wanted people, especially now as we're supposed to be distancing and isolating in our homes, I wanted to find still some way that we could feel like we weren't alone, that we were at least doing something together, separately together. And so we have everything is happening in a Facebook group so people can still kind of connect.
Yeah, that's cool. So everything's happened inside of a Facebook group. So you made a private Facebook group and then you updated your website. I'm actually going to drop your website here I want people to be able to look at it, right? I think we want people to be able to look at it because I like one of the things that the Wonder Jam has been asked to do often is to quickly we've been asked to do quick website updates for people who are like, I don't know if it's going to work or whatever, but we've got to do all of this. And so we've been a bit flooded with requests for things like that. And so you just made a simple communicating with your audience via social media, talking to them, even just listening to, would you be interested in this? Just asking a simple question. And then people can just hop on your website and they can see the schedule that is here, right? Like these are the things you have. And how has the interaction been on those live broadcasts? It looks like you've had 3 of them already or 4.
We've done 3, and then I've been going live, like sometimes a little extra just to help people, just to check in and see how people are doing. So we've had probably it shows how many people are on there, and I try not to look at that because it's kind of depressing, but there would be like 10 people maybe would be the most. But then by that evening, the video would have 120 views. So I think a lot of times people can't pop in live, but they're coming back later. And I've asked people to share the things that they're making, their projects at the end, to kind of share those as a separate post in the group so people can, we can just kind of cheer each other on and stuff. Yeah,
just trying to help people stay connected around something positive and continuing to do your thing, right? Like, so the world changed, but I'm still on the same mission. Make Do is still on this path, but the path is going to look very different. So I noticed, I was looking through your website a little bit as you, let me see, I need to share a different, share a different screen here. So you have a place on your website where people can buy or order supplies. So you went and picked up some supplies that people would need for some of these things. Yeah. And then you're working through, so this is a donation-based setup?
Yeah. So because all of our classes are pay what you can, I wanted to keep that model as we went into offering these supply kits, because I don't want for money to ever be a reason that people can't participate.
Yeah.
And so there's a suggested price there that you can see for the kits, and we're really only charging people for the supplies. And Make Do, I have a little bit of leeway that for-profit businesses don't have, because we do rely so heavily on charitable donations. That's something that I don't know how what's happening now is going to influence those donations for us in the future.
Yeah.
But what I do know is right now, we can offer this service to people who are freaked out at a price that makes it to where it's something that they can participate in right now when they need it. So we'll worry about, the future in the future.
Settling up the spreadsheet later. Yeah, that's really cool. Have you found one of the things that I'm finding as I talk to a lot of leaders of different organizations, nonprofit and for-profit, is that some of the changes that they're sort of forcing now have been these things like, I would imagine that the idea of doing like Facebook Live teaching these things, it's not the first time that you thought about it. You had been thinking about it probably for a while. These are things that have sat in the back of people's minds for a while. Is it, have you found it maybe a bit more like what surprised you about the reception to you moving and doing these things in a different in a different channel than before?
I was surprised at how I think I was just surprised at the overwhelming response of people that, yes, we want this, because it's not any different. Well, it's completely different, but it's not really any different than the things that I'm offering all the time for people. I think what has changed is now everything has been ripped away from everyone. So before, when I offer a macrame plant hanging class, I might have 20 people who say, oh, I really want to learn that, but I can't do it that night. And so then the in-person class might have 10 people in it. But we're doing macrame plant hangers tomorrow, and we keep selling out. Like, I am hoarding clothesline from Walmart. So everyone else is going for toilet paper, and I just want but I think that because no one can, all the other activities have been canceled. And so that is kind of forcing people right now. What we're doing is kind of their only option. So we will keep showing up as much as we can for as long as this lasts. And eventually, if it gets serious and they say you may not leave your house and go get supplies at Make Do, we'll have to get a little bit more creative on the things that we're offering.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's that's really cool. I appreciate I just appreciate, as I've gotten to talk to a lot of people throughout all. I just feel like I've just been talking to leaders of organizations doing all sorts of different things, and it's a real difference between people who find themselves very paralyzed in these moments where they're like, oh my gosh, everything is wild and I don't know what to do. And sometimes it's easy to forget that we all started doing a thing that only barely made sense a while ago, and we're going to start doing another thing again that sort of almost barely made sense. So there's some of that. And I saw when you kind of had shared with me inside of the Gem Club what you had been doing, or what kind of evolution you've been making, I was like, man, I want to share this story because I want to share more stories of people who are out doing things like that. I guess kind of the last question I'll have, and I'll let you go here, is if people are wanting to follow along, how do they jump in? Or how does somebody who's like, oh, that sounds really cool, I'd like to learn more about it, obviously go to your website, which we showed off for a little bit there, but what else?
Yeah, so the everything is you can get to everything you need to get to from our website. So there's a blog post there that says Quarantine Craft Camp Day 0. And if you go there, it will it has a link to get into the Facebook group. There's a supply list for an Amazon shop list that can get you all of the supplies that you need to participate. Cool. And then there's also blog posts, because not everyone is on Facebook, and I don't blame them because it's a wild place to be right now. So for people who aren't on Facebook, you can participate on the blog there. So we had already started evolving before all of this happened. So in January, I said, okay, we're going to launch a YouTube channel. We completely overhauled our website. I brought on WooCommerce and a different calendar app. And so I'm extremely grateful we already had that in process, because I would not have been able to get this up and running so quickly. Yeah. I was trying to learn everything at the beginning, or, this week. So that just worked out really well for us. What I am learning, or my struggle in the midst of all of this, is letting go of the part of me that wants to launch things perfectly and make things look really good. So even, on the YouTube videos we did originally, we were editing them and making them fun and nice and hilarious. And then now it's just a Facebook Live that I'm not editing at all, and we're just putting it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, letting go of some of those expectations and realizing nobody cares.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the truth. That's the truth. That's really cool. You also have donations on your website as well. So if somebody loves what you're doing, wants to become part of the big picture, I love that so much. They can do that there as well. So very cool. Thank you, Jo.
Yeah.
Thanks for jumping in. And if anybody has any questions, you can hop over to, you can find Make Do Create or Make Do on all of the social networks. You've got a Facebook group going. You can head over to makedocreate.org, and that will direct you everywhere you need to go. Any advice, Jo, for people who are making their own final parting words? If you could grab somebody by the face and tell them something who's out there leading or trying to do something.
I think, and I know, like I said, I feel like as a nonprofit, maybe my struggle just isn't happening yet. But money a lot of times can be, we're seeing people aren't coming into our stores, or what does this mean for, for the future of my business? But I think that we can't forget that purpose and the vision that we have for what we're offering still exists.
Yeah.
So, finding a way to still, I don't know how to say it concisely, but knowing that you wouldn't be an entrepreneur if you didn't have the passion for what you are offering. And that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So being able to let go of the worry of how is this going to pan out for me in a month, and say people are confused and isolated, and I still have this thing to offer them, and finding ways to still offer that.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to talk about that creativity is the best way to talk about things like innovation and imagination and moving things forward when you don't know what to do. So just keep putting things out there and let tomorrow worry about tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that's some useful advice there. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jo. Appreciate it. If you enjoy something like this, the Wonder Jam will be doing a bit more of this starting today. We're inviting a bunch of our friends who are doing interesting and cool things. Serendipitously, our podcast was slated to relaunch with the theme of evolutions, and we don't have much of a choice but to evolve now. So it's easy to find people who are doing cool stuff in this moment. So if you have anybody who you feel like is evolving in interesting ways, you can send them over this way. You can visit our website, The Wonder Jam. That's getting a massive overhaul that we will have done in about a day and a half to offer different services that are relevant for a different time. So thanks, Jo. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
All right. Bye.